Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming another girl talk video because my other one seemed to be really popular. So this one is going to be about periods. I feel like a lot of girls just don't know exactly what a period is, or like they may want help on how to make them less painful or just to make the period easier in general. So keep watching if you want to hear about all of that. So the first thing is, what is a period? So the period is the shredding of the uterus. I'm sorry if I use my hands a lot. So yeah, a period is the shredding of the uterus, because when an egg is not fertilized, which is when the sperm meets the egg, just in case you didn't know. If the egg is not fertilized, it has to get out somehow, and so the uterus shreds, and that is what your period is. That's why there's blood. So when you get your first period, obviously that's when you can have kids, because that's when the egg starts getting released each month. And that's why often, like, when you get your period, your mum will go, "Welcome to womanhood," or like something like that. Because yeah. So your period cycle is around 28 days. About 3 to 7 of those days is when you actually bleed, when you have your period. And you normally get your period between 11 and 15. Some people get it earlier, some people get it later. I got mine when I was 11. Yeah. So some symptoms of your period can be cramps, headaches, nausea. Is it nausea or nausea? I'm probably saying it completely wrong, but like spewing and feeling sick. Vomiting, low blood pressure, back pain and tender breasts. Out of those, cramps is probably the one that I get the worst. Fun. So I'm going to talk a bit about them now. So some people don't get cramps at all, and oops, I got a Snapchat. And if you don't get cramps, then you are so lucky. But cramps is your uterus contracting to push out the blood. So it will be an ache in your lower abdomen around your uterus, and it hurts so bad. I will go into some ways later that can make cramps less painful. So my next thing is pads or tampons. I didn't bring pads or tampons up here, I forgot. I think most people will know what they look like. But yeah, so a pad you just put in your undies and it catches the blood when it comes out. A tampon you stick up your vagina. Pretty self-explanatory, I think. So it is completely your choice what you decide to wear. A tampon can only be worn for 6 to 8 hours, I think it is. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, you shouldn't sleep in tampons because, yeah, there is a disease that you can get from tampons if you leave them up there too long, because it will start to get bacteria on it, and that's obviously not good because it's up inside of you. And it is called toxic shock syndrome, and people have died from it. Not many. It's very uncommon. Very rare. I think that's all I have to say about pads and tampons. I think most people know what they are. So my next thing is ways to keep track of your period. I highly recommend keeping track of your period, because like I've got an app called Clue and it is so good. And like, is that gonna focus? I don't know. So it will tell you when you're due for your period, what day of your cycle you're on, an estimate of how long your cycle is going to be, when you're in your fertile window, so when you're trying to get pregnant, that's obviously good, and then when you're PMSing, if you PMS, I will go into PMSing later. So then if I press the bit in the middle, I know this isn't going to focus, but yeah, it comes up with all different things. So the first one's bleeding, and you can put in whether it's light, medium, heavy or spotting. Then there's collection method, tampon pad, panty liner or menstrual cup, your hair, digestion, pain, cravings, emotions, sleep, social, motivation, exercise, ailment, I think that's how you say it. It's just like whether you're sick or, yeah. And then medication, those are the ones I have. There are more. There's skin, stool, temperature, weight, mental, appointment, meditation, party, sex, and then all medical ones, and fluid. Another way to keep track of your period, you could keep a diary, you could put it in your notes on your phone if you wanted to. Completely up to you, but I would highly recommend it. Okay, now I'm going to talk about PMSing. PMS means premenstrual syndrome. It is the symptoms when you're leading up to your period. So it is what I talked about before in the symptoms section. And like PMSing, your mood can like, oh, you can have real bad mood swings. Now my last thing is how to make your periods less painful and easier. Some foods to avoid are breads, pasta, chips, cake, pastries, biscuits, and just anything high in sugar, because that is going to make your cramps about 1,000 times worse. Fun. And then some foods to eat are foods that are enriched with fatty acids, magnesium, calcium, zinc, vitamin B and vitamin C and E. So those are foods like meat, eggs, dairy, fruit, vegetables, beans, olive oil and whole grains. You should also drink more water when you're on your period or leading up to your period, because it'll flush out your system and the cramps will not be as bad. It also makes your period regular instead of having an irregular period, which is like sometimes it might come 2 weeks late, 2 weeks early, a week early, a week late. Just depends really. And yeah, drinking water just will make you feel way better in general. This is probably the last thing that you want to be doing on your period, but exercising will make it a lot easier, because if you're leading up to your period and if you're feeling like so angry and just uptight and in the few days before it, if you exercise, it will help bring it on faster. It is proven that that happens. Also, exercise releases endorphins in your brain, which will make you feel happier in general, because your period can make you feel not so good. The next thing is you can use a heating pad and you place it on your uterus, and it is meant to make the pain go away. It didn't help mine that much because mine are so bad. Like, I spew from mine sometimes. The next thing is to take some sort of medication, so like Nurofen or Panadol, or like anything that's going to relieve pain basically. And I only started taking tablets like maybe the start of this year, I think it was. So before that, for like 2 years, I had to just sit through all of the pain. Do you mind? Okay, you can sit up here. So for 2 years before I learnt how to take Nurofen, I had to sit through the pain, and it was so painful. But now I know how to take Nurofen and the pain goes away instantly. So, you're right. So my last way to make your period easier and less painful, this isn't for everyone. Some people are probably going to be like, what? But going on the pill, I think everyone's going to know what I mean by going on the pill, the contraception pill. It makes your period regular. Some people say it helps with the cramps, some people say it doesn't, I don't know. It makes sure your period isn't longer than 7 days, and it can also make your flow lighter. If you have irregular periods that go longer than 7 days and are heavy, I highly recommend going on the pill because it helps all of them. Obviously I wouldn't go on the pill if you're like 11 because it is a way of contraception. Yeah. So that is everything that I wanted to share with you about periods. I know I'm not an expert on them, however I have had them for like almost 3 years now. But I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time.